Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this. This is your second Roadblock 2016 review of the year. It feels like I have watched this before this past Monday. It felt like a Raw to me, but enough of that. I'm joined by Rasslin and Rantin and Sammy Synister. Guys, welcome. And we'll start to my left. So, Sammy, by the way, Internet Infantry, comments, win, loss, or tie. We'll read them all out once we've finished recapping the show. But, Sammy, win, loss, or tie?
That's just my entire general impression. And y'all know I'm way more lenient and way more forgiving and way more positive than your typical guy. I could not stand this show. This is an absolute loss for me. Nothing. I almost want to give it worse than a loss because there's no reason to watch this pay-per-view. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. I hated it. I didn't hate it. I just didn't care.
Rantin, what'd you give it?
I gave it an absolute thumbs down because that was a big waste of time. I'm on WWE hiatus, and this is reinforcing why I am not watching any of their main roster weekly shows for at least another month.
Well, you're a lucky man. This, to me, feels like my punishment for cursing out Zack Ryder, wishing him injury, and then Zack Ryder being injury. This show was my... This was my 3-hour... Anyway, what happened on the Did anyone watch the pre-show? I was playing Battlefield and didn't want to fucking turn it off.
I watched it. Nothing happened.
No.
Film with Cass and Rusev.
No.
It was a count out.
Oh, fuck. Nothing ended properly on this show. Literally, the one match, even the one match where there was a clean finish, that was kind of dusty. So the Raw tag titles are on the line. Cesaro and Sheamus defeating the New Day to win the tag titles from the New Day. You know what? This was my match of the night. I really fucking... This was brilliant. Like, if I recommend you to watch anything, I recommend you to watch the last 5 minutes of the women's match and this match, because this was brilliant. And Cesaro is my pick to win. Cesaro or Sami Zayn are my two picks to win the Rumble.
That's still a good choice. And this was by far the best match of the night, which is, unfortunately, absolutely pathetic. It did show me... It reminded me, though, that I'm like, wait... Sheamus is a lot better than I give him credit for. Like he's really good in the ring. He doesn't have that it factor. I thoroughly enjoyed this match. I'm really glad that New Day lost, but I still feel they should have lost to the club fucking months ago.
Rasslin?
Well, as I tweeted out, God, Xavier, Black Excellence.
How did you?
Not like that.
Vince did
not
not
like that.
What happened is Vince looked at that Twitter. Someone showed him that picture. He's like, wait a minute. We have that many black champions? Are you fucking for real? He's like, shit, Cesaro, let's find the whitest people. Cesaro, oh, Sheamus, he's as white can get. Let's take that one.
And then Sasha Banks in there. Let's have Neville knock out that guy from Baltimore. Yeah. Well, that's for the match. The tag team, I caught the last half of it. It's a pretty good match. I thought we'd see better tonight, which, on paper, the card should have been a hell of a lot better.
Oh, yeah.
But
you're absolutely right. On paper, this had every right to be great, but it wasn't.
You see, this match what made this good to me is like, okay, cool. This is going to be a good fucking show. We kick off great. The crowd were mega hot. Good. And then we just went to a WWE Network advert on a show which you can exclusively watch on the W Network, by the way, so I don't understand this W Network advertisement. But we go to a 10-minute time limit match with Sami Zayn and Strowman, and I don't know what to think of it. Part of me liked it, and part of me hated it with a passion. Like, the first 5 minutes, I could have literally just fallen asleep. Like, the crowd just didn't give a fuck. I liked when Foley came out, and he gave the towel. I don't know. I'm torn. Like, I liked it and I didn't. I like the Foley. I just don't know. Sammy, what are your thoughts on this? Because I just don't know. Because I don't care.
I liked it. I think that was the first match was the best match of the night. I think I enjoyed this one the most. Mind you, I was watching this with a bunch of my friends, and we were just fucking good brothering around the entire time and being dickheads. So that didn't help in my attention-paying methods. That didn't make any fucking sense. My aim was real bad right there. Roll Tide, Bud Light, NASCAR, but
I would have killed to have someone to talk to during the show. Killed. Unbelievable. Like, literally, I very rarely go on Twitter during wrestling, but I was just on it because I was so fucking bored. Like, you're generally
that was
bored.
the biggest thing. Yeah. What about you, Rantin? What do you think?
I mean, I like the angle. Now what they have to follow it up with is Strowman basically obliterating Zayn for the next couple weeks, because the whole point is to build up to Zayn Strowman. That is the whole point of this, and to get you to give a shit about it. So the underdog, Zayn can't do it, beating him up. We know where it's going, but never quite sure. So I did like. I think they ran out of time with the finish, though, and that's kind of the problem with timed matches like this, and we'll get to that also with the Iron Woman match. But I think Zayn was supposed to hit another haluva kick before the time ran out. Supposed to be, maybe he could beat Strowman, but I think they didn't get to that point. I think that would have helped it a lot better if he had hit the haluva kick, went to pin Strowman, and then we didn't know because the time ran out. So then the question's still up in the air. So perfect. I know what they're trying to do with it, so I'm still going to give them a couple more weeks to see if they can make this work.
Well, I want, the thing is, I want Zayn in the Rumble, like, because it's that underdog guy, but I just don't see the money in Zayn and Strowman, because whoever loses is the real loser. Like, they are literally, you have to protect both of them. Zayn, you need to protect, he's that underdog guy. You can't just have him fucked every week, but Strowman needs to fuck someone. Give or take, so who are they going to fucking give? Like, jeez.
Well, if they did it where, like, so say eventually this leads up to the Royal Rumble and Zayn pummel for like weeks up until that, he does get the win at Rumble over Strowman. The thing you do is the next night you just have Strowman come up. This is again fantasy booking, which I hate doing, but Strowman come out and obliterate half the roster, or just knock out half the tag teams. I mean, shit, you're not doing anything with the tag teams anyway, so you might as well do that. I mean, that could keep them strong, but you're right. They have to handle it carefully, because if you don't, one of them is going to look weak, and neither one of them can really afford to look weak.
It's WWE. That's the worrying thing when they have to protect. Sammy, you're giving us major feedback. What are you doing, buddy?
Yeah, it shouldn't be possible. I've got headphones in.
Ah, well, your camera's turned off.
Yeah, I turned my camera off. It was having some trouble.
Oh, okay, no problem, Cole. Just make sure you know and you were still there. So then we had Seth Rollins versus Jericho in a match I gave the least shits about. It just felt unimportant. It was like...
In a match that should have stole the show, this was a complete dud. This match on paper, I should have been fucking stoked for. Story or no story. I love Chris Jericho. I love Seth Rollins. They can both work. They can both tell a good story. They're both really fun to watch. Tonight, and maybe it was the crowd, because the crowd wasn't into this pay-per-view at all either. We'll get into that and some intangibles here at the end. But this match was a complete dud. And not like I hated it. I didn't hate anything. Well, I did dislike stuff on the show. I didn't hate it. It just fucking nothing happened.
Yeah, pretty much. Would have been an easy match to add some intrigue to. Number one contendership, championship match next night on Raw, something like that to make it important. Otherwise, there was really no importance to it. The feud going on between them is kind of meh. And it's really sad, because on paper, Chris Jericho versus Seth Rollins, if you had told me this 2 years ago, I'd be like, hell yeah, I want to see that. And this match is just like, meh.
Does it not help that we've, like, obviously, Rasslin, you have been off and on with the Raws, but we've seen this so many times on Raw to the point where it's like, I know that it's going to be a good match. It's just, why should I care about the match? Like, if Rollins wins, why does it matter? If Jericho wins, why does it matter? Like, it generally did not matter who won.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of it because I haven't watched Raw in about 2 months now, but it's just, even not watching it, this is the first time I've really seen it in this feud. Actually watched the match outside of just like highlights or whatever, and it didn't affect me. And like Sammy said, the crowd tonight, where were they tonight?
Baltimore?
Was it when it was
Pittsburgh? They're in Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah, it is. So just the fucking Steelers were there. Fuck you, Steelers. You're losing on Christmas, by the way. Ravens all the way.
My Giants are hanging in there barely. That's all I care about.
Yeah, though Pittsburgh has been a pretty decent wrestling town in the past, but then again, we'll talk about this in the later. But they've killed a lot of these wrestling towns, and this is another example of it.
And the thing is, people are like, oh, why does it matter about the crowd? I think the crowd is a big, important thing. If you're going to go to a wrestling event and make no noise, please don't fucking go. I don't want to sound like a dick, but if you're not going to make noise, don't go, because it kills the enjoyment of the people watching at home. Like, it really does.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the crowd and the crowd's reaction and the crowd's, and a lot of this is on the wrestlers, if not most of it, but the crowd's ability to sell into a match is arguably one of the most important intangibles in an entire wrestling event. If you can't get the crowd involved, or the crowd refuses to get involved, then it makes a okay match bad and makes bad matches worse.
Yeah, but that's
Because
also, it's a symbiotic relationship. It's a symbiotic relationship, though, because that also affects the wrestlers, because their feedback when they're wrestling is whether or not the crowd is reacting. So if they're not reacting, they don't know where to go. They don't know where to pull. If they're just not doing anything. And this is an overall long-term – this is the end of a long-term result. I don't know if I'm phrasing that correctly, but a systemic thing of just the way WWE has not been able to get people to care about these wrestlers. Again, contrast this with an NXT show. Invested in the wrestlers, and then look at this stuff where the fans don't give a shit. It's night and day.
And you know, like, I feel like I can't blame them, the people going to these events, because sometimes this show is so bad whether you have a hot crowd or not. But if you're sitting here and you're like, okay, looking around, then you hear in your headphones or it's coming from your speakers, whatever, you just hear, yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know what I blame all this on? I blame it on the "This is awesome" chant. I generally do. Think about it, right? So during a really good match, instead of making loads of noise, like, yeah, 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 getting fucking louder and louder, they just go, "This is awesome. This is awesome." Like, dude, make noise. Don't go, "This is awesome." Like, imagine, like, making actual legit cheering noises and booing instead of going "sucks" or "this is awesome." Like, I just miss that. And it's like, if you are, like, watching it on TV and you're there making burgers, or you're fucking flipping or tossing yourself off for all I care, and you hear the crowd make a loud noise, you're going to look like, oh, what's going on? If you hear nothing, you're like, oh, it's okay, I can carry on masturbating. In that time, you've sat through 3 hours and comes all over your lap. Like, it's not good for the tissues. It's not good for the program. And it's just I blame "This is awesome" for everything. Like, literally everything I blame for "This is awesome" chant. Rasslin, you're in all intents and purposes, do not take this the wrong way. You are old, okay?
Yeah. I embrace that, because a lot of people are really fucking stupid.
I do agree. So that being said, who do you blame for the start of the "This is awesome" chant, so I can go and file a complaint?
Well, if you really want to blame anybody, you're going to blame ECW. But
that's exactly what I was thinking.
But it's also the program. It's a cultural thing. People are programmed and conditioned. They hear it. They think they're being hip, even though it's like 15 years outdated now, the "This is awesome" chant. And they're programmed to do that. And again, I contrast this with other shows, Lucha Underground, NXT, ROH shows, where the chants are different stuff. Mm-hmm. WWE main roster, we know "This is awesome," Cena sucks, Roman sucks, and woo, and yes, and that's all we know how to do.
And when you're, it's really weird, because when you're there, it's fucking, that shit's infectious. It really is. When you get in the hype of, because I've been to a bunch of WWE shows here lately. I'm actually going to one again on my birthday next month. I refuse to do the "This is awesome" chants, and even then, you have to fight to not do it, because it's just infectious. It gets into your system.
It's like, if I stop doing it, hopefully the people around me will stop doing it, and then hopefully I just don't see, like, if I'm a wrestler and the crowd they go dead and then they just randomly start chanting "This is awesome." Have what I've been doing really awesome, or was there just a spot that they liked? And instead of popping for it and getting louder and louder and louder, and the electricity getting louder and louder so the wrestlers can feed off it, they just chant "This is awesome." Like, another one, when they go, "This is wrestling." Like, literally, "This is awesome," because it's so outdated. I reckon in a few years, people say the word "sick." In this country, anyway, in England, people say the word, "Oh, that was sick," instead of saying this, like, "That was awesome." I reckon in like 10 years, it's "That was sick. That was sick. That was," like, what the fuck is going on with these people? They just, it's so like, no one's creative anymore with their chants.
Well, my favorite chant that came out of this last year was at the Sami Zayn Nakamura match, where they started chanting "Fight Forever." That was like, I think, the greatest thing you could have done. I loved that. I adored that.
Yeah, they do come up with. I mean, I remember they started the both these guys. I think Lucha Underground. They had the 4-way match this past week, and then they just chanted everybody. It was like,
Anyway, we'll move on, sadly, to the Cruiserweight title match. Brian Kendrick versus Fuck You, TJ Perkins versus Rich Swann. Austin Aries, thankfully, don't you dare do that live on air again. I'm literally tempted to click
I'm
the
gonna turn my
kick
camera
button.
off just to do it. Oh damn!
Unbelievable. So Austin Aries, he was replacing Byron Saxton on commentary to everyone's happiness. My notes are Swann goes for a leapfrog and Kendrick fucks it up, or one of the above.
Somebody fucked it up and took just a dick to the face.
TJ Perkins, fuck you. He applied about 18 different knee bars and did not work the leg at all. Like, none of his offense, not one move works that leg, and his finish is a knee bar. Something's wrong there, you cunt. Swann gets on with a spin kick. Did nothing for me. Neville comes out. He kicks the shit out of everyone and everything.
I did like that.
Yeah. I liked how he legit looked pissed off, and I'm actually interested to see how they're going to go with this on Raw. But at the same time, I'm worried because Vince McMahon's writing this stuff, so I'm worried what they're going to do with him. But you know, it could be good. It was like the match was so irrelevant. Like the cruiserweights, they're using the Ron cruiserweights at the top of the card. When you have Akira Tozawa, Gran Metalik, you know, all those great wrestlers, and they're using Brian Kendrick and TJ fucking Perkins. What are you doing? Imagine this being, okay, fucking Akira Tozawa versus Gran Metalik, okay, in that match, in that given time. You would have, and then Neville comes out, you would have marked the fuck up because that's 3 of the best cruiserweights in the world. When it's TJ Perkins, Rich fucking Swann, and Brian Kendrick, fuck off. It's just not good. Like, there's no new people moving up. It's been the same 3 people since the debut of the Cruiserweights on Raw, which is about 4 months ago. What's Cedric Alexander doing? Even what's fucking Daivari? What's Jack Gallagher doing? Imbeciles.
And then the women's division has, so.
Jeez. Unbelievable. Like, we'll start with you, Rantin, this time. Thoughts on the Cruiserweight waste of space match?
The Neville thing was good, and I did read an article where somebody just posted recently where he was legit pissed about his position on Raw. So it's interesting to see that they did something with it, because he was quoted as saying that he hoped better for 2017. I think and I hate to do an I told you so, but for everybody who was all like, "Well, the cruiserweight division is gonna be great, it's gonna be da," and I said, no, they're going to fuck it up because WWE has never known how to do cruiserweights. When they inherited WCW, they didn't know how to do the cruiserweights back then. They don't know how to do it now because they try to book it like they book everything else. It's not distinct unto itself. Just putting cruiserweight on the ring mat and changing the color purple does not distinguish it as something different. What I really think they should do in this day and age is they should have really quick, high-impact 5-minute matches on Raw that is just high impact, get in, get out, make it something that's really fun, fast. You get to the pay-per-views, you can do longer matches because then you've been exposed to more people, and then you're more invested. So right now, I agree with you too. They're not using the roster that they have. They got all these guys, they're not using them. The match itself was, man, I don't mind the Brian Kendrick. I understand why they're trying to use him because he's the only name that Vince probably knows from any of these people. But hopefully Neville will put it in the right direction, and hopefully they can speed up these matches and make them what we saw in the Cruiserweight tournament: high impact, fast, tight, intense matches, and we'll see if they can get there.
There is no difference. We'll go to you, Sammy, next, but there is no difference between a Cruiserweight match and a Seth Rollins match, or a Dean Ambrose match, or an AJ Styles match, and that is the fucking problem. So, Sammy, what are your thoughts on the Cruiserweight title match?
I mean, the match itself was garbage, and I really like 2 of the 3 guys. Well, I really like one guy that was in there. I'm okay on the other 2. I really, really like Rich Swann a lot. I think he's really entertaining and fun to watch, but I just didn't care about this match. They gave me no reason to care. I haven't been watching 205. 205 is killing itself by being on Wednesday nights. Move it to Thursdays. If you're going to tape it, move it to Thursdays. For the love of God.
It's on Tuesday night. 205 Live's on Tuesdays.
Did I say Wednesday nights? Tuesday nights. Excuse me. But even just put it on a different fucking night where it's not already crowded. I'm watching too much as is. Just move it.
Probably Friday.
Yeah. like last week, I ended up not reviewing it because we'd go live after SmackDown, and then obviously, but I was sick on Wednesday and Thursday, so I couldn't actually review it. And you know what? I don't even care because it's the same thing: Brian Kendrick, Rich Swann, or Brian Kendrick Perkins, or Swann and Perkins.
Just those three. And I'm a huge Jack Gallagher mark. I fucking love Jack Gallagher. And so when he came out there and is like, I'm going to interfere in your match. I loved that shit. That's somebody I want to see more of. And I can tell you one of the biggest reasons they're not using Tozawa and Metalik right now, they don't speak English. That I guarantee is one of the biggest reasons.
Yeah, that's all right.
Dude, they barely talk as it is. They go backstage and TJ Perkins, the fact he talks, I would rather listen to a guy speak Japanese than listen to TJ Perkins try to talk.
I don't disagree with you by any means, but that I guarantee you that's one of the reasons, and which is sad. Hell, I'm fairly certain, if I'm not mistaken, when Juventud Carrera first got the WCW or ECW for that matter, I don't think he spoke English. And you know, because me and LK, and it just kind of fell apart unfortunately because of schedules. Me and LK were watching WCW Monday Night Nitros for a while, and those cruiserweight matches were fucking incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know what the I know I've said intangible like 400,000 times this fucking review. I don't know what intangible WCW has that WWE doesn't have. And you know, you've been watching it for a long, long time, Rantin. What do you think it could be?
I can tell you exactly what it is. When the Monday Night War started, WCW was seen as they're the more hardcore wrestling. Their pedigree came out of Crockett. Their pedigree came in. LK knows this because we watched a couple of Crockett shows, which was much more stiff, realistic, a lot more intense. I remember at that time, WWE was the cartoon, but Nitro was, oh shit, they're like beating up each other with baseball bats. Everybody there is like could beat the fuck out of everybody on WWE. And then they introduced these cruiserweights and these matches that were completely different from the main event roster. The tag team division was a lot of power wrestling. So then you had the cruiserweights who are flying all over the place. They're doing moves you've never seen before. And the crowd was like, oh, shit. And that keeps the crowd up. If you start off with the Steiners versus Ice Train and Scott Norton, and they're beating the fuck out of each other with clotheslines, then you go to Rey Mysterio and Dean Malenko, and then it's a totally different style. Then you go to Luger and the Giant, that's a totally different style. It keeps it interesting. You're not watching the same match being regurgitated for 3 hours just by different people, which is what this show was tonight.
Yeah. So do you think the hybrid style of most of your high-end WWE top card guys now, you think that's part of the problem? So your guys like your Seth Rollins that are bigger guys that can do some hard-hitting stuff but then do a lot of high fly. Same thing with like Kevin Owens or some of those other dudes. You think that is a potential thing that has hurt them?
No, because it's the speed factor of the cruiserweight. We saw this in the cruiserweight tournament. The speed of those matches. Jesus, Kota Ibushi and Cedric Alexander. I watched that match again the other day.
So
I'm like, that the speed of which they wrestle. And even Zack Sabre Jr. when he's doing a lot of technical wrestling, he's doing a lot of reversals and a lot of art. And then you can feel this when he's doing this to somebody. It's still different. They all bring little different nuances to it, and they do stuff that the other guys, frankly, can't do. You're still not going to see Kevin Owens doing a Kota Ibushi's dive outside the ring. I forget the name of it.
Triangle
right now.
Jump.
The Golden Star Triangle, whatever it is. You don't see him. You're not going to see some of those guys doing that. It's just that they haven't marketed it as being different, and which was my fear all along with the cruiserweight division, which is my fear with a certain other division we'll talk about later, is that they WWE-ize it, if that's even a term, that it's all following the same formula for matches. They all follow the same formula. And we'll talk about that more when we get to the main event, because that was a clear indication of kind of what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Do you know what's even sadder? Dean Malenko's an agent back there. Why the fuck isn't he going, look, guys, this is shit. Like, back in the day, this is what we did. Like, this is how it worked.
Not allowed to.
Surely Vince... Yeah, exactly. You shut up, Dean. I pay you, you son of a bitch. Literally, though, I don't like saying this because it's not right, but every Monday, these guys should go out there and have spot fests for 5 minutes. Legit.
Absolutely.
Spot fests.
I'm talking
dirty.
ROH style spot fest. Just go balls deep.
Pure. No set. I don't want to see anyone hold their arm. I don't even want to see them sell. I want to do the Roman Reigns, when he got cannonball, just pop back up next move. and then get on with it. And then the pay-per-views, like you said, they can sell. They could have a long 10 to 15-minute match. But that is the problem. Where are we? We're at the next page now. What was it? Oh, it was a 30-minute Iron Man match.
I'm going to make a really unpopular opinion before you get into this, okay? I absolutely hate this.
Ooh.
Oh, shit. I didn't hate it. I just didn't like it. I just thought I wasted about 35 minutes of my life that I can't now get back. I could have been playing Battlefield. Like, that is my game at the minute. Like, I took Saturday off.
Battlefield one's amazing.
Unbelievable game. That is the best game I've ever played in my life. Unbelievable. But this match was... the minute Michael Cole goes, it's Bass time, I'm like, oh, no. Like, I don't know, like, the first 10 minutes were just boring. Charlotte, they kicked out...
the first 40 minutes? Because that was pretty boring.
Banks kicking out of the natural selection annoyed me. Because why, they shouldn't be kicking out of finishers in a fucking Iron Man match in the first 15 minutes. That just shouldn't happen. So I'll just run down so we kind of break it down. So Charlotte gets a fall with a natural selection. Banks rolls her up for a fall. Charlotte misses a moonsault off the top. Banks applies the Banks statement 2-1. And then Charlotte starts working the leg for some reason in the last 5 minutes, even though she could have been doing that for 30. She then makes Sasha Banks tap with about 3 seconds on the clock left. So Sasha could not wait another 3 seconds, which is 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. That long. She couldn't wait that long to not tap. And she tapped. It looked so fake. It looked wrong. It looked dirty. So we're at 2 apiece. The referee, who has magical powers now, who is this insane man with all this power, even though he gets treated like shit every week on television. He has all this power. He says, fuck it, we're going to go to overtime. What fucking... Since who made you? Who fucking died and made you boss? Hopefully it's
Vince McMahon, or fucking Mick Foley's there. Why didn't Mick Foley come out and go, 5 more minutes, motherfuckers? But no,
exactly.
Yeah,
the crowd were chanting 5 more minutes. Imagine the pop they would have got for Foley coming out. Easy pop.
That was, again, I made this point earlier today, and I saw it more in this match than I did in any other match. And I know exactly why they didn't this time, but the crowd did not give a shit.
Dude, they just sat for 30 minutes watching the same two people.
I don't want to say these girls didn't work there. I don't know if I need to say I hated it. I don't know if that's fair. These girls busted their fucking ass, and I absolutely applaud them for that. They put their everything into their match. And when I can see that, even if it's a match I don't enjoy, you get fucking kudos from Sammy Synister. I did not give a fuck about this. I have seen this shit legit 6 times now. This is the 6th time we have seen this match for the fucking belt. It makes the belt look unimportant. It makes Sasha Banks look weak as shit. The crowd doesn't care, clearly, and it disinterests everybody else that might have had any type of interest when they see that everyone else goes, we don't care. And I don't care. I absolutely do not care. Fucking say what you will about SmackDown, and I've made this point to LK. SmackDown puts all of their women into stories, and they're at least all interesting enough to want to see what keeps happening. Raw apparently only has the ability to put fucking these 2 women into matches for the last 6 fucking months. 6 goddamn months. Like, these girls have to have their periods lined up at this point in time that they've been wrestling together so fucking much.
Well, apparently Sasha's came out of her nose tonight, so.
Yeah! Woo! I never did catch exactly where she popped it. Did y'all see?
I'm not sure.
I'm guessing. I think it was a roll up. There was one of the roll ups, and then she just came out, and it was just.
They might have bumped
It was a mess. But I tell you what, that did help. I thought the blood actually, when she's screaming and the blood's dripping in her teeth and she's screaming, I actually think that really fucking helped. And I wish they did pop blood capsules in the mouth, because her screaming and the blood pouring down her chin and neck, I thought that was a really good spot.
More interesting. I don't really like that, but fucking blood makes things more interesting. However. What they don't, in WWE, secondhand does this. They don't do it on purpose. You got to be really sparing with how you use blood, because you use it too much, you get to ECW and no one cares. Since they have like a no color policy on WWE, the few times where it actually does happen, it fucking means something.
Agreed. And it was literally such a cool moment. I've actually made it the logo for the title. I've used that and not edited it, so that made me happy. But I mean, they really were like. I just feel bad. Like, we usually do a star rating. I got 2.5 to 3 because they did work their asses off. But it's just like Sammy, we've seen this so many times, and I bet your ass tomorrow we're gonna get a fucking rematch on Raw.
Probably. Well, I hope not. I fucking hope not.
Literally, this is what happens. Vince spins the wheel, whatever it lands on, that's the next gimmick. Like, we better fucking hope it's not a bra and panties, because if so, that's what we're getting. And then we go on to our main event.
I'd watch.
It'll probably do the best numbers in years, to be fair. Universal title now, so you got Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns, who is the US champion, in case you forgot.
Yeah, that's a fucking fact, isn't it?
The term Michael Cole uses is a big dog, which I'm pretty sure is what Vince McMahon uses when Reigns is riding him. That's it, big dog. Ride me harder, big dog. That's my dog. Like, this match was an okay match until the finish. The match was going really, really well. Really, really good. I was really enjoying this. 3.5 star territory. Jericho just comes out. He doesn't even make any bones about it. He just walks in the ring. Code breakers Kevin Owens. DQ, Kevin Owens wins. Jericho and Kevin Owens then hug. And then fucking Rollins comes out. Reigns spears Kevin Owens. Rollins pedigrees Jericho. Shield powerbomb Jericho through the table. Shield powerbomb Kevin Owens through the announce table. That was it. That was a Raw ending.
Yeah, it totally was. Like, and I had the opposite thing. Kevin Owens is my favorite wrestler in the world, and I didn't care about this match. That's how much they made me not care. And I told in Rantin, I told LK this. I said, if Kevin Owens loses the belt tonight, I'm going on a WWE hiatus.
Yeah, he wasn't going to lose because they know the whole point is they know the money match is Jericho and Owens at Rumble, which is this was the first step to that because he was playing mind games with Kevin Owens. It's like, I co-breakered you. I hold the belt. You can kind of tell he's like, I want to take the belt from you. That's what.
Which I'm okay with that story. I'm completely cool with that story. I'll dig it. Kevin Owens, again, my favorite wrestler in the world. But I tell you that story that I would quit watching WWE because I kind of wish I would have said the opposite. Because God damn it, I love Kevin Owens. I think he's the best wrestler in the entire world, and they made me not care about him.
Yeah, this match should have been a lot more of you have two guys, Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns. If we take ROH era Kevin Steen, two guys who can really brawl. I should be looking forward to a fight. But again, this is another match that they booked just like every other match. This match should have been booked like two guys really slugging. They did a little bit of it in the middle of the match when they were trading forearms, but that should have been, and everybody knows I love strong style, they should have gotten a WWE version of a strong style match with these two guys. They shouldn't be doing the shit that they're doing. I should be watching this match going, holy shit, they're beating the fuck out of each other. That's still how you book a Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns, but they book every single match the exact same way. So it all just melts into this super
work a body part, kid. Work a body part, kid. Work a body part, kid. Eventually, they'll realize that doesn't always that has its place in wrestling, but every single match can't be that.
Yeah, his wrist holds. Like, I love Randy Orton more than a straight man should, because if you build a sports entertainer from the ground up, you get Randy Orton. But dude, the chin lock was so long.
It was a long ass chin lock.
And the fucking, Owens, I love the guy, but he's doing fucking, he's doing shit off the top, off barricades, through tables, off the steps. He's doing fucking standing front flips. That's why the cruiserweights aren't getting over, because they're doing it in the main event and they're bigger and they're more important.
Yeah, and have you noticed? Well, I have to give Kevin Owens credit, and I give the same credit to AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, and even, Brock Lesnar from a couple years ago. I have noticed now that everybody who wrestles Roman Reigns, when he does have a decent match, Kevin Owens carried the fuck out of him in this match. It's basically, I'm going to set everything up, and then you do your one little move. And that's how the whole match was. Owens is working his ass off. All right, I'm going to set you up for yet another Superman punch attempt. And that's all. That's why Roman Reigns sucks. That's all he did tonight. It's just, okay, Kevin, set it up for me. Oh, there's my spot. I did well. Praise me for this match. He doesn't do shit.
He literally, his offense. So we've got the spear, we've got the Superman punch. He's got that stupid, what does Cole call it? The drive-by, the fucking running kick. He sometimes modifies a powerbomb if we're in that position, which they already got up there for.
Right.
You've got I generally don't know. A clothesline, yeah, but it looks like he fucks up a Superman punch when he does that clothesline, though.
Yeah.
a clothesline is not a move. Okay, that's just a standard wrestling. It's a standard wrestling.
I'm going to ask you a question real quick, because I've been meaning to ask Rantin. I just haven't had time because I forget. I think I talked to Booms about this. As long as I've been watching wrestling, which is one of the few things I can say that I've been doing for 20 years. What the fuck's the difference between a clothesline and a lariat?
It's who does it.
That's it. It's fair.
Well, back like the 70s and 80s, if you were from Texas, like a lot of Texas guys, Barry Windham, they called his the lariat. Stan Hansen, of course, most famously, they called it the lariat, and that's where really Lariotto came from in Japan. When he went over to Japan and did it, they called it the Lariotto. So that's really it. JBL, they call it the lariat too. So basically, it's like if you're from Texas, it's a lariat. If you're from anywhere else, it's a clothesline.
Okay, so literally it's the same fucking thing. Okay.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Me and Booms had this big long conference. I was like, well, maybe it's like how you carry through with it. And like if you go down, like it was legit 10 minutes we were trying to figure that shit out.
Yeah, I mean, the only person who really comes to mind is like Rick Steiner had this. They used to call it the Steiner line because the way Steiner he would kind of leap to the clothesline, so they always called it the Steiner line because of the impact of it. Which was a thing back then, but he's the only other one. That's the only other variation of a clothesline I've ever heard.
Okay.
When you said the word Steiner line, do you know that the Steiner song, Steiner line? It just came straight in my head. I have no idea. I love that song. That is in WCW. There were three songs. I love DDP's version of "Smells Like Teen Spirit." I loved. Listen to this. This is a strange one. I love Lex Luger's theme song from 97, 98, 99. That was fucking quality. And the Steiner Brothers theme song, because that was fucking magnificent. Anyway, we'll get to some live comments before we wrap this bad boy up, because it's getting awfully late over here in the UK. Sammy, Rasslin, why don't you plug yourself while we wait for the live comments?
Yes, this is Rasslin Rantin. You can find me on the YouTubes, Rasslin Rantin. Just search for it. We do lots of top 10 lists. News and commentary and all that kind of stuff. Also retrospective reviews. We got one up to now this past week of the top 10 not color commentators, play-by-play announcers in modern wrestling history. We're going to be doing the big event from WWE eventually. I know people have been asking for that one that's coming up in January. And check back every day. I got a commentary about the WWE UK tour and the rumors. The whole story with the president of the parent company of New Japan Pro Wrestling talking about either going to war or partnering up with WWE, given the fact that WWE apparently is now going to be putting territories around the country, around the world. So we're doing a commentary on that tomorrow. So check it out. Rasslin Rantin here on the YouTubes and webchannel24.com/Rasslin with 3 S's.
Real quick, because I know you watch a lot of New Japan and such, and I hate anime, but someone told me to check it out. Have you heard of an anime called Tiger Mask W? Apparently it like uses New Japan wrestlers in it.
Yeah, that's been around for a while. I think Liger's also been. He's got a lot of those guys have their own cartoons or whatever, all toy lines and everything else. Liger's been there for a while. That's where Tiger really got his popularity from as far as Japan is because he tied it. He was a wrestler and a animated character.
Okay, cool.
Oh, good live comments. So we have Crazy J-Ray says, you know what would made Roadblock better? If I have never watched it. That would make Roadblock a hell of a lot better. I don't fucking blame you.
Roadblock. I call it speed bump. This is.
I called it.
This is like the second Roadblock in this year. There was one in February, right? So there's been 2 Roadblocks this year.
Yeah.
But this is Roadblock end of the line. This isn't any Roadblock. This is end of the line. But I've been calling it all week. I've been calling it Armageddon because that used to be the pay-per-view.
I'm fairly certain confused the holy shit out of some people.
Yeah, it was literally so bad. Like the title even used Armageddon. People were like, what the fuck? I'm going to start doing that because I hate these names. These names actually upset me quite a lot. What we got? Andy Pratt says, Internet Infantry for life. Good boy. Crazy Jack, good boy. He's not a dog.
Here's your treat.
Chris J. says, fans saying this is awesome before a match is dumb. Oh, yeah, that really grinds my gears. This is awesome in general. Really just gives me just the goosebumps, not in a good way. Andy Pratt says, I love the fight forever chants. Yeah, we all agreed on that. Crazy J. Ray, this is a bad time to be a wrestling fan when you can't watch the good stuff on TV. You know what?
you totally can watch the good stuff on TV. And even if you can't watch the good stuff on TV, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? This is the best time to ever be a wrestling fan. You can watch almost any wrestling on the internet, on any type of on the Fight app. Oh my God! If you've ever get bored, go look on the Fight app and all the fucking independents that are on there. This is the greatest time to be a wrestling fan. There is more eyes on the wrestling world than there has ever been before. Like, yeah, I'm watching it like 6 months behind, but I'm watching New Japan. I'm watching Ring of Honor. I'm watching Lucha Underground. I'm watching CMLL. I'm watching Lucha Elite. And all that's online for free.
Yeah.
So if you know where to be a wrestling fan.
If you have common sense and a fucking brain, you know where to look for that stuff. Most obviously, I like paying for things I like.
Same here.
WWE Network I buy because I like watching all the old stuff. I like, and obviously live pay-per-views. For me, it's £15, so I save myself £5, and I go to watch in HD, so that just makes me happy. I hate watching streams that aren't HD, so I like having a HD. A New Japan I pay for, and Flow Slam I pay for because that gives me the Evolve. It's good. It's really good. And if you don't know, if you're struggling with the English, Dave, like a year ago now, I'll send you the link, did a how to order New Japan for English or American speakers, so you can convert it yourself. Rinny Soms put, this company can get bankrupt and burnt to the ground for all I care. With so many good alternatives like TNA, Ring of Honor, Lucha Underground, CML, Lucha Elite, New Japan Pro Wrestling Evolve, and PWG, why even watch WWE? Fuck this pay-per-view and this company. And I tell you what, if the WWE did not give us views, I would not watch this shit every week. I'd watch the pay-per-views, but I would not watch the shit every week. Period. Any of you guys comment on that? Would you, if WWE wasn't the most talked about product that got the most views, like Rasslin, Rantin, you're a genius. You've got it.
Dude, I actually have a counterpoint to that because right now, the last 4 videos I put up, the one that's got the most views is the news about Cody Rhodes joining Bullet Club. The last 4 videos I put up.
Yeah,
so
but I mean,
it depends on. Go ahead.
What I'm trying to say is, like, if you do like reviews, like this channel, we review everything. Like, yeah. And I've seen that the Raws, the SmackDowns, and the Lucha Underground's fucking kick ass in numbers, and the pay-per-views, they do good numbers. I reviewed Evolve fucking 72 and 73 live after 73 aired, and it's still below 100 views, which nothing ever does. Indie wrestling does not. Watching anything Evolve, House of Hard, it does not do good numbers. So people say, why do you still watch WWE? It's because I want the numbers. Okay, it's a numbers game. It's common sense. Like, it would be like with you, it's obviously yours is more of a channel where you do like retrospectives, and it's more about that. Whereas here, it's always been known as the show that reviews Monday Night Raw. Isn't it, Rantin? Really, it's always been that channel that reviews Raw live after it airs. Always been that YouTube channel that reviews pay-per-views live after it airs. This is what this channel's been. It always has been that. So if people stop getting it, I just don't want to fucking burn it to the ground like this Rinny Soms wish WWE did.
Yeah, well, that's another reason why I don't. You guys are kind of locked into it because your format. That's why plus there's so many people that do that format anyway. It's like me crowding the territory. I'm trying to do something different. So I have the benefit of not having, I can do what I've been doing the last 2 months and go, fuck Raw. I'm not watching this shit for 2 months. I don't have to. I'll cover news. I'll do a little something over here. I'll promote New Japan and do all the New Japan videos, which I'm in New Japan phase right now until January the 5th after Wrestle Kingdom. And then I'll start tuning back into WWE proper once they get the UK tournament up. But yeah, you're kind of locked into having to cover this stuff. If you want to run a YouTube channel that does live reviews or post reviews, you're kind of stuck with having to watch WWE because, unfortunately, us as a community has given them all this power, and we refuse to share it with any of these other promotions like Lucha Underground and even TNA and Ring of Honor and New Japan that deserve more time. And it's really up to the community to not. We'll talk about this a little bit later. I do want to talk about this in a little bit more depth before we go off the air, but especially with WWE putting territories around the world, because that ties into this. But yeah, you're kind of stuck. You're kind of stuck, dude.
It is. I am stuck, and it's like I'm thinking, like I'm trying to do the Evolve reviews. I'm trying to do all the other reviews, and it's just like, what's the point? Like 75 people watch the Evolve reviews. Like that's like 6 hours of my life I spent watching wrestling. And 70 people decided to watch.
Maybe you should merge it together, because the one thing I know that did help is if you merge it together with some of the other stuff. Like if you just do like Monday, here's reviews for Monday, everything, Tuesday, everything, Wednesday, everything, and then you just merge it with any WWE thing that happened that week, and it's just one show with all of it. Maybe more people would be interested in watching it, because it's, you know, because you have to. The problem here on the YouTube is that you have to kind of rope people in and going, oh, we're going to talk about this, but also, yeah, there's this other wrestling thing that you might be interested in. So I don't know.
Yeah, because so in the right now in the comments, because we're still quite far from the bomb. So in the comments, because we've still got quite a lot to talk about. In the comments, put from this channel, what do you want? Like legit. Like obviously we'll still go live reviews after this, but what do you come here for? Do you get your W dosage? Or do you like the whole package? You like reviews of all of it? You just don't have time to watch it all, or you don't know when I'm going live. Like that is difficult because we're on Mondays. You know this will be here. You do not know if there'll be a New Japan upload or if there'll be a Ring of Honor, or obviously Lucha Underground we now go live after, but it's kind of difficult. But it's not. I'm not blaming the infantry, of course. It's not their fault. It's just, you know, the way life is. So Donaldo Savantes, I think I didn't fuck your name up, and if so, I haven't heard your name here in the comments before. So welcome and appreciate you being here. And he says Cruiserweight Division, the place where mentors turn on you. That's so fucking. Good comment there. Crazy J Ray doesn't like WWE and TNA right now. TNA, Sammy, you could comment on this because you haven't spoken in about 16 minutes. What's your? Are you still fucking buzzing over Total Nonstop Deletion?
And guys, y'all's that are skipping on TNA right now, LK finally convinced me to give TNA a really fair shot. And I guess what, 3 months now, 2.5 months now, LK, we've been watching TNA. Give or take.
Yeah, give or take. After Bound for Glory, which was October. So October.
Yeah.
See now?
About 3 months. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. It's an enjoyable show. It's not the best wrestling I've ever seen. It's not the best show I've ever seen. And it's definitely got some issues, but it's fun. And when I watch TNA, it feels fun. And that's what I really, really like. And that's what's ultimately missing from a lot of WWE stuff sometimes. It just doesn't feel fun. It feels mass-produced, because it is. I think the biggest problem with TNA, and the reason people say it sucks and people refuse to watch it and stuff, is because their background and their behind-the-stage issues and financial and business troubles completely outshine the product that they have on television. Whereas the product on television is really fun most of the time. I really enjoy it. There's a couple wrestlers I've absolutely fallen in fucking love with. They're just fantastic. And even my future ex-wife is working on that show, which really, really helps. You either completely loved Total Nonstop Deletion or you thought it was the worst piece of shit you've ever seen. And you know what? I'm completely cool if you have either idea. Like, even if you like TNA and hated Total Nonstop Deletion, I completely understand. I fucking adored it. I absolutely. Rantin, have you seen it?
No, TNA is not.
I bet you. I bet you would hate that. I bet you would hate that with an utter passion.
I really liked it because I really like Lucha Underground, and to me, it was like Lucha Underground with the goofiness taken to 11.
Well, if it's like Lucha Underground, I'll probably like it. It's just that
No. We had a 1-year-old boy, a drone get smothered in tits. We had a fight go into a volcano. We had guys half naked going around North Carolina.
That's why I said it's Lucha, but turned to 11. Like, it's fucking intense as shit. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Imagine watching 2 hours of shit where like Drago's flying around and the snakes are going under cave holes, and it was a television show. Like, it was legit a television show, not a fucking wrestling.
Yeah, that was an LK at that point. If you watch it like a TV show, don't watch it like a wrestling. Like, this is fucking just your typical wrestling promotion. It's really enjoyable. Here's the problem that a lot of us wrestling fans have problems doing that I've never had problems doing. And it's one of the reasons I can enjoy stuff a lot of other people don't. Just turn your brain off. Just turn your brain off and watch it. It's so much fun. And that's all anything has to do. All anything has to do that entertain me is keep me entertained, don't waste my time, and I can just turn my brain off and enjoy it. And I did that with Total Nonstop Deletion. By the way, guys, I've got to get up, unfortunately, really, really early, so I have got to call it an early night.
No problem. Will you be joining for Raw tomorrow?
I am definitely going to make the shot, but I'm not 100% sure. You know how my schedule is nowadays.
Yeah. I'll give you a bell tomorrow. So yeah, I'll give you a bell tomorrow.
All right, guys.
Thank you very much for joining.
Cool. See you later.
Take care.
See you soon, Sammy. Goodbye. Right, so we have Crazy J-Ray. This is an interest. This come up in the news a lot recently, actually, anyway. So Jeff Jarrett is supposed to come back to TNA soon. Maybe we can get TNA back on track in the backstage. That's from Crazy J-Ray. And Andy Paps goes on to say Anthem wants him a part of creative, and he could incorporate GFW in TNA. Crazy J-Ray then says, but I don't know how Jeff Jarrett can because he can't get GFW to hit off like it should be. But last month, GFW was able to get 4,000 fucking fans at one of their shows. But if I'm understanding, GFW isn't actually running these shows. They're just being a part of the shows. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, it's not a promotion.
So Jeff Jarrett did not get 4,000 people. GFW did not get 4,000 people. No, the company that produced it did.
Yeah, that's a inflated number. So.
Oh, fair enough. So even if Jeff Jarrett did get backstage, surely it's just another paycheck to pay.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if and I haven't checked up on it in the last 2 days. The last time I heard about it, it was more that they were just they probably trying to get back history on the company because Jarrett, obviously they just bought it. Jarrett ran it for so long. So, if I just bought it, I want to talk to the guy who ran it for 10 years, 11 years, however long he ran it before he left as far as being part of creative. I mean, that just makes a lot of sense. Whether or not he's going to, I can't imagine if they're going to do a new thing with it that they bring him back and just go backwards because that doesn't really help the product. It doesn't help you rebrand it. So
especially now they're going down this alleyway of like total non-stop deletion. Like obviously it's going to spit in the face of the old school fan like yourself, but for a fact, like when I watch it, it's like it's just TV. Like I know, like it grinds my gears, but it's just TV.
Well, that was never the problem. I never had that problem with TNA. If they do something different, I'm all for it. The problem I've always had with TNA is that and it's the same problem I have with a lot of other wrestling shows. Their format always seemed like bootleg WWE. The setup, the opening entrance, then you go to the announcers. They announce the same way. They use the same. The whole theme is always just like it's like WWE, but just not as well done, not as expensive. So I always had a problem with that with TNA. If they're doing a lot more different stuff now, I'll be interested. I just can't watch it now because I just don't have I have zero time to do anything. The only reason I can even come on the show tonight is because I actually have tomorrow off, so I can actually do a wrestling show, which I haven't been able to do in forever. So
it's been crazy long. It's been crazy long. Rennie Som says Lucha Underground is the best wrestling TV show in the business. I seem to be having a hard time getting any buzz from the wrestling community. It's sad because Austin and The Rock promoted Lucha Underground, but no one cares. You know why no one cares? Because it doesn't have a big fat WWE logo on it. That's the reason why. If people started saying WWE presents Lucha Underground, watch those numbers fucking shoot through the roof. Well, it's sad.
You can't. I mean, the Outright Network, you still can't see it. So most people.
Yeah, that's true. Actually.
I don't have the Outright Network where I'm at. I have to watch Lucha Underground through an internet provider. It's not on the TV package anywhere near where I live at. So I actually can't watch Lucha Underground live. I have to watch it on delay afterwards, or I have to go do other ways of watching it if I wanted to watch it live. So their biggest problem is they don't have the ability to be seen by most people. It's got a lot of buzz. A lot of people hear about it. It's got all that, but if you can't watch the show, nobody's going to watch it.
I guarantee you, if you combined everyone who watches it, I know for a fact the live stream I watch it on, because obviously I have to watch on a live stream because I'm fucking English and it's not on TV over here. The live stream I watch it on has always 500, like the minimum of 500 viewers for Lucha Underground.
Yeah,
that's 500 people watching it live. The post, like on the post show, all these different sites uploading it. I guarantee you, I reckon at least 500,000 people watch Lucha Underground every week.
Yeah, their ratings have been between 150 to 250,000 since they started the show. But again, consider it's on the Outright Network, and they're doing those numbers. So if it was on a legitimate network that it was on a day everybody could see it. Plus, it's also going up against NXT too, so that might affect it a little bit. But Lucha Underground has an appeal that goes beyond hardcore wrestling fans. It also taps into especially in America, the growing Latino community. So if they could get on a bigger network, they would be doing bigger numbers. And
speaking of numbers, we got I don't know how this goes into this direction anyway. On this Wednesday, we're going to have Krista Joseph on, co-executive producer of Lucha Underground. We're going to have him on Wednesday, so join us there, and we'll go live Q&A after, so make sure you join us live. That's as soon as Lucha Underground goes off the air. And if you're wondering how to find Lucha Underground stream, follow me on Twitter at LK Wrestling. I'll follow you back, and then I'll DM you the link of how I watch it if you obviously live in England or anywhere else in the world. But you should support Lucha Underground. What we got else here? Lucha Underground problem is they are losing more money than TNA is. I don't know, though. It's like...
They probably are, because their production value is high for that show.
Yeah, but their production is done now. They're just making money now. They're just making money right now as we speak with adverts. With merch,
maybe.
adverts. You know, I guess it actually depends on how they're paying their talent. If it's just pay when they come to the door, there you go. But I'm guessing it's a contract throughout the year. If it's that case.
Yeah, because Ricochet, I don't know what Ricochet is. I can't remember what his contract status was, but he did talk about the fact that he did have one with them. So I'm not sure. Who knows what's going on with him right now? I'm still keeping an eye on whether or not he's going to wind up in Full Sail come sooner or later.
Probably. I wouldn't mind him on 205 Live, actually. Just get him in the fucking cruiserweight. Get him fucking flipping and flopping and flying around.
Yeah.
Rinny Som says, Vince McMahon ruins everything he touches. There's a reason why so many non-WWE wrestlers are scared or either against going to WWE under Vince. The company may be good once Triple H takes over. It's really sad it's sad when it gets to this point, isn't it? Like when you're like, I love the guy to death. Like I respect everything he's done. Like I love the guy. But enough's enough, buddy. Hang up that stupid old fucking... I saw a picture of him in England. He looked like a fucking drugged up nutcase. His hair was all fucking bush.
What are you talking about?
Vince.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Vince's, yeah.
Like, dude, it's like... Go on.
I'm just worried about on one hand, Triple H, as far as the way WWE is presented, we see glimmers of what he would do with NXT, with the cruise, with the stuff that he's done and produced is usually been pretty good, and it gives us what we want. Now this global takeover shit, the only thing I'm gonna say about that, because this is probably a topic for another time when we have more time to talk about it. I live in the United States of America. I grew up at a time, and LK can attest to this because we watched old school wrestling, where we had lots of different kinds of wrestling around the country. Texas was different than the Mid-South. Mid-South was different from the Northeast. Northeast was different from, all these different areas. WWE took over all of those territories, and now the United States wrestling is basically WWE and then other companies that mimic it. All of those people left. All of that different style of wrestling is gone. I am concerned if 10 years, 15 years from now, if there is a WWE Japan, WWE UK, WWE Mexico, WWE China, WWE India, that the global wrestling culture might go the same way. I'm hoping it doesn't happen, but I'm kind of like this about Triple H and what his ambitions are, given especially with the UK stuff this week. We'll see. That's my.
How about this? How about what he does with NXT? Is legit Vince's plan. Okay, have all these indie guys, like get them, just get them. Like have a show that they will love. Do you know why? Because that will keep them in tune with the WWE product. If there was an NXT, if we didn't have NXT every week, all the NXT takeovers, maybe people would be like, oh fuck WWE, I don't care. There's nothing that appeases me. But when they have it's like you keep going back for NXT. You keep going back for NXT. Always takeover, and then they say it's a pay-per-view. This takeover was so amazing. I have to watch fucking Royal Rumble. Like, is this actually a work? Is Triple H working every single one of us?
No, I think. Well, my hope is, and I don't know, because I can't read the dude's brain. But my hope is, given the fact that from what I know of him, he grew up like I did, watching the same wrestling I did. And I see how, like, little things like how the Dusty tournament is really the Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup. And, he watches Japanese wrestling, obviously, with the Cruiserweight tournament, which is the Super J's tournament version in America. Hopefully, his ambition, and because he's working in your country now with the companies over there to do this UK tournament, I hope it's more of a thing where they're going to go, okay, we're going to have a WWE branded show. We're going to make the money from it. We're going to use your top talent in your country and set this up. But we're not going to make it a WWE product. It's still going to be, it has your flavor, UK style wrestling. It's your guys. Because I think, I used to talk with Dave about WWE's been bad stewards of the wrestling industry because they've destroyed the heritage of all of these old wrestling companies and styles. if they keep the styles in the UK, if they dare try to go to Mexico or Japan, and if that happens in 10 years and they keep those styles, I'll be on board for it. I think that would be a benefit. But I do think this is part of a long-term plan for them just to kind of take over the whole thing, which is scary.
It is, but it's fucking W, innit? What can you do about it? Middle of
stop watching.
Like I said, I'm trapped into this format. Middle of February was Fastlane, not Roadblock. There was a Roadblock in March. Joe O'Hare. It was a network exclusive. It won't be found under the W pay-per-view section. You have to go to network exclusives on the network.
Right.
Andy Pap says, hopefully the product gets better. It won't, lol. Maybe. Someone send me a link where I can watch some good wrestling. Dude, just type watch wrestling online and there'll be so much on there. Like, I don't want to give out any because I just don't. Andy Pap says, I can't wait for Wrestle Kingdom. Andy Pap says, I like everything you guys do on the channel. Rinny Soms, yeah, I like most of your reviews on a different wrestling products other than the WWE. Okay, so that's good. So we've got 2 feedback about, doing more than just a week. Because I'm thinking of doing, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, get my WWE done, and then doing more, like lots of other different stuff. And I really want it to be the channel where people are like, I'm going to subscribe here because then I get my indie wrestling, I get my UK indie wrestling, I get my American indie, I get my WWE, I get my TNA, and I get my Ring of Honor, my Lucha Underground. That's my goal for this channel. Daniel Price says, WWE's gotten so lazy and lackluster with their booking. They are more worried about marketing a brand than making a quality show. It's just, when WWE pitches like us, like if you notice, WWE do a lot more post-show talk shows recently, because they're obviously trying to prevent people from coming on here and listening to me and you bash the product.
Well, I think you realize that there's a market for it after everybody. So they want to, like everything else, we got to own that too.
It's like, why watch these guys bash us when you can listen to us promote it? Like, it's such a... I feel like Talking Smack, okay, they advance some storylines. Talking Smack is different to Raw Talk. They're literally naming it a fucking podcast. Like, unbelievable. Like, I just feel it like, why do you have to be so control everything? Like, legit, like, our numbers went above 20 once Raw Talk finished. Now we're back down. Okay, that doesn't bother me because I know it's long as comment time. But WWE Talk generally does take over the review show. You can tell when there's a good Talking Smack on. And it just, they have to control everything, and it pisses me off. Like, unbelievable. Hopefully Anthem Sports puts TNA on tour. Roadblock or a WCW pay-per-view from 1998. You know what? I would fucking pick WCW Super Bowl 98 or Sold Out 98 any day of the week over this.
Shit, almost every pay-per-view WCW. 98, you're still talking about, they were still running pretty hot at that time. So, yeah, anything from 98 WCW.
Speaking of what LK just said, New Japan is starting to get annoyed with the way Vince is raiding Asia.
Yeah, yes, yeah, they are.
Wouldn't you be? This question for you, Rasslin. What Vince is doing now is basically the wrestling equivalent of Roman Imperial expansion. He'll be calling it that.
Yeah, it really is. It's a joking thing, but at the same time, I mean, as a older wrestling fan who saw, I mean, again, I grew up with lots of different choices, and now you have one. And we had to go out of the country to find other stuff. And now it kind of worries me if this is just continuing what they did in the United States. And there won't be a New Japan the way it is now. There won't be a CMLA the way it is now. The UK wrestling scene, which has come up in the last 10 years, won't be able to mature the way it would have matured. Now they've already put their flag in it. So I lived through it. I saw it as a kid through teenagers. So it's funny, but at the same time, it could be the death. And look what happened to the U.S. wrestling scene. I mean, we're losing. It's been hemorrhaging audience for the last 15 years since they took over.
They may be a like you said, they may be a marketing, or one of the comments, they may be a marketing machine. But when the product's bad, and it's bad to the point where it's kind of embarrassing, if you kind of go out and you go, it's different from me. Like, if I go out and say I'm a pro wrestling fan, I feel it's a lot different to WWE. Like, if I go to work right now and I say, oh, look, I enjoyed a wrestling event last night, and then someone would legit go, is that WWE shit? That is legit the exact motherfucking quote. And you know what? For the first year I was working at this job, I legit, because everyone was older than me and everyone was bashing wrestling, like bashing it hard. My defense was, oh, I don't watch WWE. I watch the real good stuff. And I was showing them highlights of the PWG, and they're like, oh yeah, okay, that's fair enough. I won't bash you. I legit had to lie about being a WWE fan to stay, not the. No one at work wants to be the bullied boy. No one at wherever you work, you don't want to be the bullied boy. So I had to lie about my passion to prevent me from being bullied. So if you're a WWE fan out there, you may feel the same. Like, you don't say you're a WWE fan. I say I'm a fan of pro wrestling, and then show them all this other stuff, because then it's like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. I'm not going to bully you. And it just feels, it shouldn't be like that. That's the state of the WWE right now. You're embarrassed in public. I will not go out in a WWE shirt. I would go out in my New Japan shirt. I'd go out in my Bullet Club shirt. I'd go out in all these shirts. I would not go out in a fucking Dolph Ziggler shirt.
Roman Reigns shirt? You're not going to wear Roman Reigns?
Like, no. And it's like, it's really, really bad. And it's embarrassing. It's the state of the business right now. Like right now, I think Sammy said earlier, it's a great time to be a wrestling fan. It's that is maybe, but
for
it's
content.
just when the content is great, like from other companies, but it's that worry in my mind that in the end of the day, WWE will always win. If WWE wanted to buy you out, you'd be bought.
Yeah.
And it worries me.
That's up to all of us watching this stuff, though.
And it's like 2-3 million people every week watch Raw, watch SmackDown. It's like, if only 1 million of those people just tuned into Lucha Underground, or not Lucha, a TNA example, or Ring of Honor, and just tuned in and just gave it a watch, they would enjoy it. They would legit enjoy the products. There are so many good products out there that people just don't watch, not because they don't want to, not because they don't have the time, not even because they're lazy. They've been brainwashed by Vince that WWE is the be-all and end-all, and nothing else matters.
Yeah, well, there's a point too, and I brought this up before, is that it's also on some of the other promotions, because again, like I said, my issue with TNA was always that it looks and feels like WWE. They don't distinguish themselves different enough. The only company that does in North America is Lucha Underground, and their problem is they're not on a network that more people can watch. So until you can get a company, and hopefully I will try to check out this deletion thing that you guys were talking about at TNA. Hopefully if TNA can distinguish itself, because they are on a network that more people can see, if they can distinguish themselves as being something completely different and just batshit crazy and people watch it because it is, then maybe but that's what they need to do. Nobody has done it since really ECW and WCW. Everybody else has been following their lead, and that's just unfortunate.
And the thing is, with Raw ratings, going the way they're going, just down every week. They may jump when there's a mystery return, or Goldberg, or Brock, or Taker, or an example of that. Do you think there'll come a time where WWE is only viewed by like 1.5 million, 2 million people? And then that's people will just look down upon wrestling because no one watches WWE anymore? And then it will come a time when no one watches wrestling anymore?
Yeah, that's I put it in the video that I'm putting up tomorrow that, if you're watching this 10, 15 years from the time I'm recording this and pro wrestling has gone the way of soap operas and it's almost extinct, it's probably because it probably started in 2016. Because if they go to the point of taking over everything and just keep churning out this packaged, preconditioned, what we basically saw tonight with Roadblock, which is just everything's the same, everything fits this format. We've been doing the same format for 15 fucking years and people are bored of it, but we're going to keep churning it out because, boom, explosions, loud music, noise, flash, flash, flash. And you like it. And we have the brand, WWE. And yeah, okay, this is awesome. This is awesome. Eventually that gets boring. Eventually that dies out. And, another thing that I also realized too, and I think it's something you and Sammy has said on the show that I watched from you guys a couple weeks ago. We don't have a lot. When I was growing up, your grandfather and your dad would, your grandfather grew up watching Bruno, and then you watched Hogan, and then my old cousins, they may have come up with Austin and The Rock, and you kind of had that you passed on with your uncle or your dad or your mom or whoever watched. It was a generational thing, which again is what was lost with the territories. You don't really have too much of that. You got kids going because the parents don't watch wrestling, but they're going because the kids are there, and the guys that do watch wrestling, their kids aren't interested in it. It's not something that you're passing on. that is concerning because if it keeps going the way it is, again, pro wrestling, as much as the WWE fans might go, WWE rules everything, they're going to take over everything. You don't want that because wrestling will die in 10, 15, or 20 years if this keeps going the way it is.
It does worry me too. I feel that, the only way people generate buzz, like companies, like all the alternatives aren't competing with WWE by producing alternative wrestling promotions. They're creating alternative TV shows. They're not creating wrestling, like NONSTOP DELETION is not a wrestling show. Lucha Underground is not a wrestling show. I don't want, I want like a good Lucha Underground show. I don't want all my pro wrestling to be a TV show where people are blowing up in volcanoes. I want pro wrestling. Evolve. That type of pro wrestling, just good pro wrestling, good storylines, championships that mean something. Simple.
Yeah, but you got it.
Good story.
A wrestling company has to. You're going to need a company that's got
money,
probably $250 million.
Money, secure TV.
You need celebrity endorsements, and you need to present it. You need to go same way WCW did. You need to, Eric Bischoff, whatever you want to think about him. If you watch the Monday Night War stuff, he said in an interview a long time ago, he's like, whatever WWE did, I did the opposite. So they did this, I did that. And that's the way people need to approach it. So a company would have to get a lot of money, get some legitimate sports stars, some legitimate hot celebrities who are hot at the time, and promote your show like it's a fucking sport and get people engaged in the art of wrestling and have your announcers explain it so people can understand and go, I understand what this is now. Because you can do that. And for anybody who says, that's only for the more smarts or whatever the fuck that name is to this week for our hardcore fans. That doesn't work because the casual audience won't like it. I will give you the biggest counter argument to that, which is going on right now. There's a little movie called Rogue One right now that is completely inside baseball for Star Wars people. And I went to the premiere, and all the core audience was explaining to the general audience what the movie was, and people understood it afterwards. Because that's what happens. People talk to each other and they go, comes before the original Star Wars. For some reason in pro wrestling, however, if you know something about wrestling and you try to tell somebody, they go, hey, you're fucking smart. I don't know how to fix that, but that's another part that needs to be fixed.
It's fucking gone sour. Vince has this show so bad it made us question if pro wrestling would still be around in 15 to 20 years.
Yeah,
it's got us like, and I never really thought. I just thought wrestling would just always go on, and it is scary. Like you got companies trying so much different shit. Where TNA did a 2-hour show where there wasn't matches. There wasn't a match. If you classify Lashley and Eddie Edwards, and people are buzzing about that. And it's got to the point where there is no, like, you got New Japan, and I'm so happy New Japan has expanded into, the world. That, America, England, the English-speaking language has kind of expanded over here. Lots of new shows talking about it. Same as Lucha Underground. But it's just, to create a new alternative, do people really have to go an alternative route? Like, I love Lucha Underground, like yourself, like probably most people watching this.
Uh-huh.
But I'm just worried if that's going to be pro wrestling and it's not pro wrestling anymore. If you have hear me out. If you have WWE, which is the most sporty of the lot, like you have WWE, then you have Lucha Underground, and then you have all these alternatives, these new promotions come, and they're looking at WWE thinking, you know what, I can't compete with them, but Lucha Underground I can, and I'm going to create a reality-based, TV show. That scares me. Like, in 10 years' time, is it going to be everything like Lucha Underground, where we don't have the sport feel and it is the TV show? Will everything just be a TV show? Because that's what, I feel bad. I don't feel bad because I love Lucha Underground. But when I come on here and I put it over it's a great TV show, at the same time, that upsets me because I want to see the sport. I love the sport and the art of professional wrestling. I love it to pieces. And, I don't like saying this, but is Lucha Underground killing the wrestling industry?
No, not at all. Lucha Underground is a breath of fresh air for the wrestling industry because Yeah, it's to something Sammy said before too. He was talking about TNA and how their backstage stuff or eclipses the great stories they're telling. Number one, nobody really talks that much about Lucha Underground's backstage stuff. We're talking about the fact that Pentagon Dark had to face 4 women in a triad and how fucking badass that was, that they had that whole thing and they broke his arm and the storyline. We're invested in the stories on Lucha Underground and what happens in the ring. So to me, in a weird way, it's kind of brought kayfabe back, because when I watch Lucha Underground, I'm not worried about who's getting pushed or he should have the championship or they're burying that person. No, I'm watching and going, holy fucking shit. They buried this dude and he's coming back, and Mil Muertes and Matanza are face to face. It's like fucking. That's because that's how, when I grew up with wrestling, that's what we watched wrestling. If I saw King Kong Bundy and Andre the Giant, it's like, holy shit, it's like King Kong Bundy and Andre the Giant. That's how we got into wrestling. You suspended your disbelief to be in it. I can watch Lucha Underground and suspend my disbelief. Their in-ring action is fucking pretty damn good. And they present a story that you're not worried about the bullshit. You're worried about the story.
When I meant Lucha Underground, just to reiterate there, it was more, Lucha Underground was in my mind, because we've been talking about, it was more towards the total non-stop deletion. Okay, because it was literally just, it worries me that, there won't be, because you mentioned the Lucha Underground has probably, one of the best, in-ring content of the week. So I'll never dish Lucha Underground, like wrestling and stuff. But with total non-stop deletion having the whole show and the way how everyone is putting it over, and it's good. Like, when I mean everyone, I mean most people on my Twitter feed are saying it's fucking amazing. Like, even if I don't like TNA, I like and respect what they did.
Right.
Will it come a point where it will just be that? It will just be all of that. Like, alternatives are saying, look, TNA is getting this buzz out of this total non-stop deletion for being this, alternative, TV show instead of being a wrestling show. Will a new person, will a rich man who loves pro wrestling, like say there's a rich man, like say I win the lottery, and I'm looking at it as a business-wise, like, you will not compete with WWE because people will watch WWE because it has a WWE fucking logo on it, no matter how good it is.
Uh-huh.
Do I compete with them and potentially lose money? Or do I go a different route, create a reality TV-based soap opera, and have matches in the woods?
No, I don't know, because and keep in mind too,
I guess Lucha, this is what makes Lucha Underground great. Sorry to cut off there. It's the middle ground. It's not like a fucking TV show. It's not this dirty, just no wrestling, in a volcano. And it's not, pro wrestling in its purest form inside a ring. It's that middle ground, which it's kind of like WWE, but it's the opposite. That's where Lucha Underground nails it on the head. It's like WWE because of all the soap opera, but it's not because everything is, kayfabe, everything makes sense. You're interested every week in the story.
Yeah, but that was always, again, like I said, that's the Lucha Underground always said is like a lucha. It's like Lucha Libre meets Mortal Kombat meets pro wrestling. I mean, it's the whole, and that's why it works, is because I know what the universe is. I can suspend my disbelief and watch it like I used to with wrestling before we all started worrying about what's going on backstage. It's the only show I can do that with. Every other show you're worried about, all the other shit. But keep in mind too, still to this day, even though they're the number 2 wrestling company in the world, is a legit straight up presented as a sport wrestling company, which is New Japan Pro Wrestling. So there is still a big market for that. I don't think it'll ever go away. I think you're just, someone in the States has to figure out a way to incorporate it with sports. And they have to, because pro wrestling in America has gone so far away from people who are interested in sports. It's a lot more people who are kind of look at pro wrestling as a video game. And you got to kind of bring it back to where it's like, this is why people don't react to moves. It's like they don't understand. It's like, get to the finish. Up, down, down. I want to get to the finish. Finisher. If I hit this finisher, kick out. That's the way they approach it. They don't approach it as, oh shit, she's gonna break her leg. They don't think of it that way. So they've got to kind of bring it like pretty much the way New Japan does. Because if I see, when Kushida gets that armbar on, the crowds pop. They're like, oh shit, because they know that it's the potential that they could sell a broken arm there. So.
You know what? If wrestling gets that bad to the point, I'm just gonna fucking go over and live with Dave in Japan and just experience what they have for wrestling, because that will never change.
Or down.
I don't think. Or down in Mexico, you had watch some good stuff. I'm sad Lucha Elite finished. That made me sad. I was literally so annoyed. I'd like to watch the last 4 episodes each week, and then it finished. I was like, for fuck's sake. But anyway, yeah. So, bloody hell, we've gone on a right old depressing rant, haven't we? Here, Jesus Christ, in about 30 minutes talking about the state of the fucking wrestling industry with WWE taking over.
Oh, it's big news because we're in a real transition period right now. I mean, it's kind of like the last week, the news that's been coming out. It's kind of like wrestling is about to go under a big change. You're seeing WWE going into the UK. New Japan is talking about thinking right now whether they're going to make an announcement in a couple weeks, whether or not they're going to war with WWE in their own country. Shit is getting crazy. So we're in something. A year from now, we're going to be talking about some big crazy shit that's going to happen. Like you guys saying, I got to watch this thing now that you guys have been talking about all night with this TNA deletion thing. Shit's changing right now. It's a big time period. We're going through something huge. So.
And you know what? It's so true because you got right now. So you've got New Japan and Ring of Honor, the pure pro wrestling. Then you got your WWE, which is shit, and then you got your Lucha Underground, which is TV show based, real good pro wrestling, and then you got your TNA, which is turning into not even a reality show, just a pure TV show with no wrestling psychology, no wrestling, no nothing, and it's where, and when will there be a leader? Because right now, WWE New Japan, I call them equal. Like, they're generally both big as fuck.
Yeah.
But what will be equal? Will WWE go over and say, fuck you, New Japan? Or will New Japan, like you say, we're going to war with them? And New Japan, the worry is, though, with that, it could either do one or two things. It could either, A, make exposure for them in the States, B, to these WWE hardcores now, hey, you're hurting my Vince, you're hurting my WWE, fuck you. Or will it piss off WWE to the point where they destroy it themselves? WWE could easily take out that company.
No, they couldn't. No. They cannot. I'll correct you on that one. And the WWE could not take out New Japan in Japan. WWE would lose because the one thing people do not understand especially with not only Japan but also Mexico. In Japan, they have the term called gaijins. They don't look too favorably upon foreigners. There's a lot of xenophobia there. And in Lucha Libre, the term rudos, gringos. They want their products to be centered around, if you're in Mexico, it's centered around Dr. Wagner's, the Mysterio family, the Guerrero family, whoever else. In New Japan, it's Riki Choshu, it's Kenji Muto, it's Tanahashi now, Okada, Naito, who's the best fuckers in New Japan right now. That is a big kind of question mark with them being able to go into those territories. That's why they went to UK, because the UK doesn't have that right now. They can't go into Mexico or Japan and just do that because there's a lot of pushback from 5-6 generations of dad watched so and so, and now he took his kid. His kid likes Rey Mysterio. My dad liked Riki Choshu. He liked Tatsumi Fujinami. Now I like Tanahashi. That's a lot to go up against. And
so it would be the equivalent of Japan coming over here and trying to have a war with WWE. Most WWE folk who watch now would be like, no, because it's been here, here, and here. It would be the equivalent of that. That's what I was saying. I didn't mean that WWE would take over Japan.
Okay.
I mean that WWE would take Japan's guys, like they've done with Nakamura. Like I reckon if push came to shove, if they want them that bad, they have the financials to just take whoever the fuck they want. If they really wanted someone, like really, really, really wanted someone, they would have them like that.
Depends on how they work out, because still to this point, Nakamura's not on the main roster. Hideo Itami's injured. They still got Asuka on NXT. Gallows and Anderson have failed. The only person they took was a gaijin, and who made anything of himself was AJ Styles. He's the only one that's had success over there. If I'm in New Japan, if I'm Kenny Omega, who's we know he's going to be there eventually. Young Bucks just re-signed with ROH. You're sitting back and looking and going, if you're Naito, if you're Tanahashi, if you're those guys, you're going, let's see if Shinsuke actually gets somewhere with you guys first. Then, because right now we're making bank over here in New Japan, and I'm at home. I got it the way I want to. I don't have to wrestle that crazy ass 300-day a year schedule that you guys are doing over there. I know my people. I know my country. They love me. If I go over there, you guys haven't promoted one single one of our guys to the top of your main roster. You did it on NXT, but you haven't done it on the main roster. Until that happens, until Shinsuke Nakamura is main eventing a WrestleMania or a SummerSlam, they're still going to look at it like they did with TNA. I mean, remember Okada was in TNA. A lot of those guys,
as well.
Tanahashi, Evil was in TNA, and thanks to Vince Russo, got shit on. So they had that experience.
I wish you had that picture. I wish you had that picture right now. Yeah, it's just, it's crazy. And, you know, I really reckon in about 5 years, like, I never really thought about it like this. I just thought, okay, WWE would just carry on being WWE, TNA would carry on being TNA. But when you come to think of it, it's really scary. And it's an eye-opener to really, like, holy shit, like, to start, like, I'm watching all this stuff and not reviewing it because I'm thinking no one wants it, but fucking do it. Because, you know, there might be that one person who clicks on that video thinking, he's putting this over? I hear this guy Barry Raw every week. What's he talking about? Typing that show into Google and then being hooked. And it only takes about, you know, 1,000 people to do that over the course of a year. They tell their friends on Twitter, oh my God, this is awesome, hashtag Lucha Underground. So that is the motivation to, you know, to keep going and to keep fighting the good fight for pro wrestling. And it's sad because I want WWE to be good still. Like I do generally, like in my heart, I'm still a WWE fan. But I'm no longer really enjoying the product. I'm watching it because I have to, not because I want to. And it shouldn't be like that. And it's like right now I could be doing so many different things. And obviously right now when I was watching the show, you know, I could have been playing Battlefield. I could have been watching anything. You know, there was a House of Hardcore last night on the Flow Slam, which I need to catch up on, which I'm going to review later this week. That I could have watched, which Tony Nese's last match with Leo Rush, which really has me fucking occupied. And Cage versus Moose sounds really appealing. You know, and I could like that just sounds really appealing to me. And it's like instead of watching that, I'm watching shit that's boring. And it's killing the business because people are turning away. And when you turn away from WWE, not like if me and you said, right, fuck watching WWE, and maybe people listening right now, if they said, yeah, you do. If you said fuck WWE, I'm not watching it anymore. You would watch your Lucha Underground, you'd watch your TNAs, your Ring of Honors, your New Japan Pro Wrestling, your CMLs, you really like we all talked about PWG, etc. But I'm thinking the more, like, people always use the term casuals. Like, if the casuals stop watching WWE, they would just stop watching wrestling. So, in the long run, I think WWE's ratings being up means more people watching pro wrestling, means more people have that opportunity and that chance to click on someone's video that takes them to New Japan to then show them that. So, the higher ratings they are for WWE. Look at TNA. Okay, I know they're on a different network. But a few years ago, WWE was doing what, 5 millions?
Yeah, TNA was doing 1 million.
TNA was doing 1 million. WWE goes down to 2 to 3. TNA drops half. Coincidence, WWE drops half and TNA drops half.
Yeah.
You know, and the more it is simple. When WWE gets hot, when WWE is trending, I guarantee you more pro wrestling is watched worldwide. And this is why I want WWE to be good because it will help the wrestling world.
Well, no, North American world, because in the early 90s...
Oh, yeah. I'm talking, when I mean world, I'm talking about like myself in England, you in America, and Canadians.
Yeah, the Western world, yeah, because I remember early 90s when North American wrestling was in the doghouse. New Japan was, and All Japan were killing it. They were, you know, they had 66,000 people for multiple Tokyo Dome shows a year. They were hot. Mexico's been hot before. I don't know. I think we're going to have to see what happens with the UK tournament. I think that's going to tell us a lot and how they handle the show. It's going to tell us about where pro wrestling is going. Because if WWE is going to become good stewards of wrestling, like I said, that all that can do is help UK wrestling. Because now you'll have a lot of people who wouldn't have seen it, who even on the WWE network, the 1.5 million viewers in there, who might have never watched Rev Pro Wrestling, might not ever watch any of the stuff. And they can check it out and go, oh, okay, I like that guy. I like that guy. So I've heard of this Rev Pro. I've heard of these matches. I heard of Will Ospreay and Ricochet. Oh, is that guy on that show? Okay, I'll watch that show. That's kind of the way they can do that because I think that benefits WWE in the long term either. And I think maybe Triple H understands that killing everything else is not exactly the best thing to do. Maybe we should we can take these under our umbrella and nurture them and build them up. We're still going to be the big dog. I mean, nobody's eclipsing WWE. Like I said, New Japan is the closest, but they're about $300 million behind WWE annually. So yeah, if they become good stewards, we're in good shape. If it becomes a I'm taking over the world thing, wrestling won't be around in another 20 years. That's just my opinion.
Or if it is, it'll be very low key. It'll be, underground, doing online trades, having their own mini networks.
Yeah, and like I said, it'll be like soap operas. You try to, like my mom used to watch all kinds of soap operas, and she's like, there aren't any on the TV anymore. So I don't even know the name of the one she watches now. It's just like one. And I remember as a kid, they're all day long with soap operas and all this shit, and that's done. Wrestling might be the same way in 20 years. We might be like soap operas where you have to go on Hulu to find it. So I hope not. Support other wrestlers. That's the point of this whole thing. Watch other wrestling. Yeah. Watch fucking Wrestle Kingdom. If you out there who are watching this show have never seen Wrestle Kingdom live, I'll tell you one thing. Staying up late and watching Wrestle Kingdom is almost a religious experience. But if you're not that much into it as I am, just watching another wrestling show that does not have the WWE logo on it, where you have 30,000 people in a big-ass arena with a big stage production, if you care about that kind of shit, and watching how excellent the matches are, because New Japan Pro Wrestling is awesome. Their in-ring content is the best in the world. It is a different experience. Get into it. And I should have to tell people that because New Japan has been getting an audience in the West lately in the past 5 years. So embrace that stuff. Let's try to move it in that direction if we can.
Feel that when I watch other programs, I feel like emotion. Like you feel legit when I watch WWE, I just feel angry. I feel sad. You feel stressed. Like, oh, that doesn't make sense. You don't get that with any other promotion.
No.
You get that was amazing. Like you're stood up going that was awesome. Like in your fucking living room, you get emotion. You get you like being attached to these characters, like Big Match John or Roman Reigns or Kevin Owens. Or even if you're a guy who just watches WWE and you're into your AJ Styles and Kevin Owens, you get attached to them. You get attached to these fucking guys as well, like Naito, Okada, Nakamura before he came. You still can get attached to these guys. So go out there and just literally your homework from today, right now, if you're watching this for tomorrow, you must watch. Well, you don't must. I'm not forcing you. Please watch something else, whether it's on Flow Slam, House of Hardcore, Shine, American Championship Wrestling, whatever the fuck it is, New Japan, Dragon Gate, Lucha Underground, Lucha Elite, CML, PWG. There's so much out there. And if you don't have that much money and you really can't afford to pay for these events, just type in watch wrestling on Google and you'll see about fucking 50,000 websites come up. And there'll be so much for you to watch.
There's tons of it out there. And you have to keep in mind, too, it's not going to be something, because, again, if you're conditioned to watch, if you've watched nothing but WWE, it's going to be jarring for you to watch, especially some of the other ones in other languages. Even Lucha Underground, a lot of the guys cut promos in Spanish. So, but what I can tell you about that is after watching a couple times, if you can understand, okay, this is how this wrestling works. I said this tonight when on Twitter, somebody was talking about how they didn't care about Sasha Banks and Charlotte, and they've had all these promos and stuff. And I said, the funny thing about that is right now, my two favorite pro wrestling characters are Pentagon Dark, or Pentagon Jr. if he's not in Lucha Underground, and Naito. And I don't understand a fucking word either one of them says, but their characters are so well done. Naito does his shit. He spits on the titles. He throws it up. You get everything. I understand everything he's doing. I understand everything about Los Ingobernables. I finally can pronounce it. I understand Pentagon Dark and the fact that he just goes around breaking everybody's fucking arm and Cero Romero and all that stuff. I didn't know what that meant for 3 months. But you understand the characters because they're well done without even fucking understanding a word that they speak. How can you do that? But
Sammy, the way you're explaining it, Sammy said a few months ago, it was wrestling can sometimes transcend language. Is what you're trying to get at?
Yeah,
sometimes characters transcend language.
Yeah, which is the core of pro wrestling. Because before we had this and TV, again, even in my old ass, we went to the arenas. That was when most of the wrestling we saw was at the arena. It came to town. You had no commentators. There weren't any promos back then and shit. You went to a wrestling match and you saw that's how it started. That's how it lasted for 100 years. It's only in the last 2 decades that we've got all this other stuff that now wrestling is supposed to be about. But the core of pro wrestling show is a story told in the ring. and characters told in the ring through their actions and how they interact with other wrestlers. And that's the pure. I guess that's why I like New Japan so much. Is that's the pure, because I don't understand fucking Japanese, but I can understand enough to go to see when Naito throws he wins the IWGP Championship, spits on it, throws it up in the air, leaves the ring, and I understand. Ooh, that's kind of. He's an asshole, but the fans love him, so you get it. Anyway, try to watch. We're gonna close it out.
Yeah,
I'll let you close it out.
We're gonna wrap this up because we've got an hour and 40 minutes. We're just with the last 40 minutes. I hope you've enjoyed just talking about the state of pro wrestling. I hope you've all enjoyed it. With that being said, check out Rasslin and Rantin. Do you want to give yourself a plug? Because you gave it about an hour ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So give another one.
Yeah, and if you want to watch some Lucha Underground, go to webchannel24.com/Rasslin. We have top 10 lists. I'm mostly doing very short news clips every day about different topics in pro wrestling. I will be doing a wrestling review again eventually when I have some time to do it. And the reason I haven't had a lot of time, guys, actually, and I should probably start promoting this now, is I have written a series of books that are coming out in January, and I'm in heavy promotion mode right now for that stuff. 350 pre-orders, and we're going into full drive in the next 2 weeks. So I'm gonna be
hit me up with them, and I'll promote them on these show. I promote Dave's book, so I'll promote your shit.
Everybody's gonna see it because it's gonna be all over the fucking place in about 2 weeks. But I've been doing a lot of that, so I'm still doing the wrestling reviews. I am going to be doing the retrospective review because people love those things, and they've been asking for the last 286 ones. So check me out, webchannel24.com/Rasslin with 3 S's, or just search for Rasslin Rantin with 3 S's in your Google search box there, and you can find my channel. We've got all kinds of videos, top 10 lists, bunch of stuff. Tomorrow I'll be uploading a video about this topic as I go a little bit more into depth about what might happen if WWE does have WWE China, WWE India, WWE Mexico, and what you guys should look out for that. It is a little scary, but let's just hope that they do it right this time, unlike what they did to North America.
Fingers crossed. KocoSports, I'm hoping 2017 will be mine and Rasslin's year. Rasslin, hope his channel obviously grows and takes off. In 2017, believe it or not, actually spoke to fucking Jerry, who's like the leader of KocoSports, the actual brand itself. It's ran by Dave, but it's actually ran by Jerry. And starting on December the 26th, we're going to have a meeting, and then he's going to call me up, and we're going to do a meeting on the phone. He's going to show me how to do upload. He's going to show me how to do all that. So the KocoSports website will be updated daily. I'm also going to be joining the marketing team over there. So I'm going to do a lot more of the marketing stuff over there. So I'm just really looking forward to 2017 for KocoSports. And, even if wrestling does die, Rasslin and Rantin, we'll still have each other to talk to. We'll still have fucking each other. We could do retrospectives of fucking Roadblock 2016.
Yeah, I think I'll stop by 2001. I'm not covering any of this shit.
Yeah.
I don't want to cover it now.
So tomorrow will be a SmackDown live review. Monday night, it feels like Monday. Monday Night Raw review with myself, maybe Sammy. I know you are on vacation, so I don't think you can make it tomorrow, can you?
No, I'm on vacation, so I can make it tonight. But after that tonight, you probably won't see me until January.
Well, I'll see you for Wrestle Kingdom, that's for damn sure.
Yeah.
Maybe Booms can join us Monday, but it'll probably just be me and Sammy. If not, just click anyway. And liking, comment, and subscribing like you guys always do. Check out all the links in the description box. Check out Rasslin Rantin. Thank you if you've stayed with us for an hour and 42 minutes. You are the true hero. We've had fun. I hope you've had fun. We've entertained you, gave you knowledge. We've excited you, made you angry, made you cry about the state of pro wrestling. So that being said, stay safe, stay well, don't get deleted, and I'll catch your asses down the line.